blasts at Red Fort, outside Red Fort. But the latest death toll has now gone up from 9 to 12. Those 3 critically injured have succumbed to their wounds and the injuries. That's what we have been given to understand. So overall, 12 dead. There are 8 who have been identified. 4 of them are yet to be identified. 31 people in all were injured. Some of them have been discharged while others continue to be in hospital at the LNJP facility, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi, soon after touching down from Bhutan, went straight across and from the airport straight to the hospital to meet them. Anvit now joins us with the details. Anvit, is it the 3 severely and critically injured who are battling with for life, have they now succumbed? Is there confirmation from the hospital? Anvit, can you hear me?
Yes, Anand, yes.
Anvit, yes. So the death toll now goes up to 12?
Yes, so total 12 people are dead. This has been confirmed to CNN News 18, and 8 of them have been identified, while the number of injured, total who have injured in this incident is 31. The kind of injuries there includes burns and grievous injuries to heads and face and other areas. And also these injuries are crucial, not just from the medical perspective, but also from the investigators, because the kind of burns this is, it will also help them identify exactly what chemicals were used and what mixture of chemicals and fuel were used to harm them. So this is also crucial from the investigation point of view. And the total death toll is now 12, that has been confirmed. 8 of them have been identified, by 4 remain to be identified now.
So 8 have been identified. Do we know who are the 4? Are there women involved in the number of dead? Are there any minors? Do we have any details of the 12 who are dead? And in the 31 injured, have many been discharged, or are all 31 still in hospital?
See, some of them were discharged because they had minor injuries, but majority of them still continue to remain under strict medical supervision, while those who are dead, those who remain unidentified, their bodies are in a shape that it's very hard to recognize. Some of them are amputated, some of them are completely burned beyond recognition. So this is the reason why they could not be identified. Their DNA samples have been taken, and those who had come to claim the bodies of those people, some bodies are also unclaimed. One of the bodies, we are told, is of a 56-year-old man who is completely mutilated, completely in a bad shape and burnt and charred. So that body also has remained unclaimed. So there are some bodies that are unclaimed. There are some amputated body parts. So these are very difficult to corroborate as to which part belongs to. So these 4 bodies that remain unidentified, this is for the reason that they have been they have been damaged beyond recognition. So that is the reason why they remain unidentified.
Right, we've got more news coming through, and we'll just stay on with us. The EcoSport that was being traced and tracked along with the Brezza, the red EcoSport has now been tracked. It's also been seized. The location was in a village in Faridabad. It has a Delhi registration number. DL10CK0458 is the number. Cops have now seized this red EcoSport in Haryana. This EcoSport is linked to Umar Nabi, Dr. Umar Nabi, who is a suicide bomber who was driving the I-20 at the Red Fort signal, Suneri Masjid signal. How is it linked with him? Because the FASTag number is linked to Umar Nabi and his phone number. Anshul now joins us with more. We have images of this red EcoSport. It seems to be parked at one place. Was it left there? Has it been left there abandoned? What are the details? Where in Faridabad was this EcoSport found, Anshul?
Well, the exact location where this EcoSport has been found is approximately 10 kilometers away from the Al Falah University, and it is being said at this point in time that this vehicle was parked over there for the last 7 to 8 days, and it did not enter the national capital near about the time when this entire blast had happened. In fact, 48 hours ago, when the I-20 was when the I-20 came over here and the blast happened, there is no entry into the national capital that has happened. The vehicle was abandoned at that very time when the initial raids were happening by the Jammu Kashmir police. That is around 10 days before now. When Muzammil was arrested around 9 days before now, Umar got to know that Muzammil has been arrested, and the hands of the laws could get very, very close to him, and that could be one of the reasons why he decided to park a vehicle at a secluded location inside a village in Faridabad, and then charted out a plan as to how he can escape and then eventually carry out this entire blast as well. So the vehicle has been recovered at this point in time. The vehicle
anything
has been
found inside the vehicle?
Nothing has been found inside the vehicle at this point in time. However, the SOPs have been pressed in. The bomb disposal squads and other squads have been called in to look inside the vehicle. But at this point in time, nothing suspicious has been found. No person has been found around the vehicle as well.
Okay, so 10 kilometers from the Al Falah University is where Umar Nabi seems to have dumped this vehicle the moment he realized that the cops were hot on their heels and there were arrests that are being made. Anshul, that's what you're telling us. Any update on the Brezza that is linked to Dr. Shaheen? Any update on that vehicle? Because there is doubt that it may have explosives on board.
Well, yes, searches are being conducted for that at this point in time. The NIA is also looking into this entire matter. Another vehicle that was linked to Dr. Shaheen, that was already taken into custody. That was a Maruti Suzuki, and from that vehicle, the assault rifle was recovered, and that is the reason why this suspicion has again come up, that this another vehicle which is yet again registered in the name of Shaheen. In that as well, there could be some suspicious material or explosive devices, explosive material that could still be inside that vehicle, and hence a search operation has been launched. It is likely that it could also be stationed very well inside the limits of Faridabad as well.
Right, Anshul and Anvit, thank you for your input. So we are tracking the developments very closely. Multiple angles to this entire 10-11 blast and the Al Falah module, linking not just back to Jammu and Kashmir, but deep-rooted radicalization and grooming of educated individuals and white-collared radicals being created by someone who, from a paramedic, turned a Maulvi and was in charge of the Naugam Mosque, and from there this entire outfit network was being started, was being operated, and clear handling and the handlers based out of Pakistan and also in Turkey with clear connections with jihadi tanzeems like the Jaish. There are other connections also emerging. We'll speak about that, and also other concerns that should also occupy the minds and thoughts of those who are overseeing the investigation, the strategists, and also policy and administration. Was this also discussed in the CCS? Perhaps it was, as to what is the strategy and the modus operandi that's being operated or that's being adopted by these radicals and these terror outfits now. It's not just the economically poor or backward, or those who are uneducated, people who would do something in desperation. These are educated individuals who are being groomed. What is going to be Bharat's next step? Let's get into that. The investigation continues into the deadly Red Fort terror attack, which has claimed 12 lives. The latest in the probe is that the investigations have confirmed the Delhi blast was a Jaish-inspired Fedayeen attack. A 10-member NIA team is leading the probe, with forensic experts analyzing samples from the site. Exclusive CCTV visuals from the Red Fort control room capture the exact moment of the explosion at 6:50 p.m. on the 10th of November, that's Monday. A bright flash at the Red Fort Chowk is seen as crowds move through. The I-20 car used in the blast was tracked across Connaught Place and Mayur Vihar, suggesting a deliberate route to evade surveillance and also to confuse the sleuths, because it spilled over into multiple districts all around Delhi and NCR. Now, fresh CCTV from Faridabad Sector 37, dated October 29, shows the prime suspect Dr. Umar with Tariq from Pulwama, the final owner of the I-20 car, likely on a recce. Maulvi Irfan Ahmed from Shopian, a cleric and a paramedic or a former paramedic from the Government Medical College in Srinagar, accused of radicalizing the doctors and the alleged mastermind of the terror module, is being grilled to unearth the extent of the terror nexus. Meanwhile, another doctor, Tajammul Ahmed Malik, has been detained for questioning over possible links to the entire terror cell. So it's a string of doctors from Adil, Muzammil, Umar, there is Shaheen, there are two other lady doctors who are facilitators who studied at Dhaka Engineering College, Dhaka Medical College, and interned under Maulvi Irfan, and now Tajammul Malik. There is the doctor in Gujarat who was looking at something far more diabolical, using ricin and a biochemical terror attack or a bioterror attack, trying to murder innocents by the in huge numbers by adulterating water and prasad at temples, etc. All of these are medical professionals, educated individuals who have been so far radicalized that they are ready to work and not just undertake terror activities, but further create sleeper cells and further radicalize individuals around them. Kulbir Krishan, former IPS and ex-member of the NSAB with us, Lieutenant General S. Harimon Iyer with us, former Chief of Staff, Northern Command, Ambassador Deepak Vora, former diplomat with us, and also Sushant Sareen. My namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you for your time. Kulbir Krishanji, I'd like to start with you. This trend of creating and grooming white-collared radicals, is this a new one, or has this been a phenomena for a while?
It's been there for a while, but the extent which has been done this time is new. And doctors in particular have not really been used so much. And this ring of doctors, they are like doctors of death rather than doctors of treatment. But educated people being radicalized has been there for the last 10-15 years. And it's been more in South India than in the North, but it's been there and it has to be tackled. In fact, I would like to take you back to an explosion which occurred in Burdwan on 2nd October 2014, which was done by Jamiatul Mujahideen Bangladesh. It was a bomb which exploded accidentally, but their wives were caught and they had been running a women's cell of the JMB.
Yeah.
So here when we see Dr. Shaheen trying to form a women's cell, it is something which was done at least 10 years back. And that time also the NIA had taken over, charge-sheeted the case. The main accused managed to flee back to Bangladesh, but the case was charge-sheeted and gave good results. So here also we have to double back on radicalization, and the universities, the colleges, the classmates, the faculty, the family members, all have to be alert, because it can't be done just by the police or the security agencies.
General Harimon Iyer, your thoughts? If I may ask, because Jammu and Kashmir, in that region, oftentimes this has been spoken about. They were all branded as OGWs. If you were to say hybrid terrorists, you were supposed to say white-collar terrorists, people would say, why brand them thus? And then largely this whole narrative was they are all economically backward, they are from very humble beginnings and they can be fooled, they're gullible, etc. This lot doesn't seem to be gullible. And it mirrors what the likes of Masood Azhar and Rauf Asghar were saying on the other side, where they called for women to start recruiting, facilitating and start forming these cells and grooming individuals.
Yeah, thank you for having me on your show, and good evening to all your fellow panelists. Firstly, my experience with Kashmiri doctors was during the COVID period. And I was working with them in J&K, in both Jammu and Kashmir region. And I found them to be a very professional lot of people. In fact, I was very appreciative of the way they came forward and helped us manage COVID in entire J&K. So to that extent, when I look at the current set of people who got involved in terror, it's an eye-opener. At least from J&K, I had not seen these kind of people being involved in terror. What we saw was, like you said, young youths under 20, 21 years of age, misled by people. You had those Burhan Wani kind of people, Facebook prodigies, people who wanted to show their youth to the people. Not these kind of people. And second issue which actually is bothering me is it only Delhi or is it pan-India? Because you find these people go for education all over India. So if radicalization has spread amongst them, people go for engineering and medical college education across India. They are given seats in almost all engineering and medical colleges across India. If that be so, where all these people have infiltrated and whatever level up to which they have got radicalized, this is a very, very major lesson to be taken from this event that has happened. And I'm sure our intelligence and security agencies are working into these angles, because it's a dangerous precedent. And to have 3,000 kgs of explosives and being managed by people like them, all having facilities, capabilities, multiple vehicles, communication, and possibly even reach, because these people may have been treating or attending to patients of in service and in various level of government agencies. So I don't know how much these people have infiltrated, and that is a bigger cause of concern as of now, because I never thought that this kind of people will also get involved in terrorist kind of activities.
Most of them, we are given to understand, are between their early and mid 30s, Ambassador Deepak Vora. But the fact is, the common point is this Irfan character who turned Maulvi, but before that he was a paramedic at GMC, and all these people have studied at GMC. In fact, the two lady doctors who are also now currently under the radar and have been detained for facilitation, they also, from Dhaka Medical College, they also came to intern at the GMC Srinagar when Irfan was there. Irfan then moves to become the Maulvi of a mosque in Nogam. And under him, those acolytes who come to listen to those sermons were the three people who were pushing up the Jaish posters that were also recovered from Irfan's cupboard when the cops went there. There again in the presence of a magistrate. So this is very organized, and over the last 7-8 years, he's been in touch with all of them and he's been grooming them.
Thank you very much. A pleasure, sir, as always, to learn from you and from my colleagues who are there. Mr. Saleen is there. I see our police officer. I see our other colleague. Their knowledge is much greater than mine. Let me just put it to you. The Delhi blast was the day the medical profession died. Old Hippocrates would have turned over in his grave. I have a message here from my group. I've just returned from the US, from my walking group, early morning group of doctors, of academics, journalists, diplomats, and others. One of them, I'll just read briefly the message. It was a condolence, Ambassador, very sorry about what happened. I promise you, please listen to this, sir. I promise you, if I go to a hospital and my doctor is a Muslim, I will not be treated by him. This is one man, a journalist from the United States, telling me this. I don't know how many other people feel this. So if these fellows have tried to murder and have murdered so many Indian citizens, they've also murdered the profession. Now, when you've talked about educated people, always think, bhai, padhai kara do iski, koi garib aadmi hai, padha likha nahi hai, it's easy to sway him. No, it's not. The aam aadmi, the chap on the street, will not go in for this. He'll do a quick assessment, ye karne se mujhe kya fayda hoga. But these people, at the top of their professions, at the top of the social hierarchy, for them to do it. And sir, may I just say to you also that when we talk about radicalization, that's not the right word. For me, it's suicidation. They are made, they want to kill themselves and take others because the tenets of Islam, sir, please forgive me for not being politically correct. What is it? It's reproduction. If you get married, have 300 children. It's conversion, convert as many as you can, and it's elimination. Those you can't convert, eliminate them. These are the three basic tenets. So may I just put it to you like this, that this character who was a paramedic and then became an imam, etc., do these three, I'm sure they don't, because their brains have gone. There is, instead of brain, there is ricin in their brains, sir. I think their parents infected them with ricin, because your mindset is formed in the first 10 years of your life. That's when your parents play the most important role. And I think these guys were injected with ricin. How can anybody, I failed, I'm angry, sir. One of my friends lost his son. I'm angry, sir. This shouldn't be happening. And hats off to our investigating agents. Did a brilliant job in dotting the T's and, Now, I'm sorry, I get very upset about this, so forgive me. May I just say that Bharat has changed that night, sir. And now we are going to look at everybody from this community with suspicion. And my driver, my PSO, this up, yahan mat jaiye, Musalman ki dukaan hai. What do I tell them, sir? Do I be politically correct and the great guy, oh, we are secular? Like hell we are secular. What about secularism from these guys? Did the character who blew himself up know whether the chaps in the car next to him were Hindus or Muslims or Christians or Sikhs? He couldn't care less. He wants his 72, whatever he gets in his demented paradise. So my own feeling, sir, now every citizen of this country has to be a citizen soldier. ये दूसरे का काम है, ये मेरा काम नहीं sir, नहीं sir. We are developing already much greater security sense that we will not stand for this anymore. And Jihadistan, where it originated, sir, there's no point. Mr. Sareen may agree or may not agree with me. There's no point being nice to these people. One of my foreign service colleagues says, let's engage with them. I say, send them an engagement ring. We've been engaging with them for 75 years. What have we got? Nothing. The only way is to eliminate them, sir. Break them up so that you can't change their minds. Just break them up so that they are not in a position to hurt us. And I'm sorry if I'm sounding terrible, sir. But then I am angry today, sir.
There are many who would be angry, and there is a situation where those who are not part of it, or those who don't think like this, belonging to the same community, get broad brushed. The intent is not to broad brush and call everyone a terrorist. That's not the case. But the fact is that unless the community overall at large comes out and outrightly dismisses such elements and says no, they don't represent us, and say that this is not how India or any Indian will think, then there is going to be a problem. And this is what also allows the enemy to further sow the sense of divide. It's a heads I win, tails you lose kind of a situation for the radicals, because the act of a few then broad brushes the entire community. Then that community feels that the brunt of it from those who are not from that community. There is a fissure in society, and then these radicals get to try and capitalize on that again. But the other thing you said is the mindset. You can break their backs, but you can't change their mind. Now, what do we do in a situation like that? Sushant Sareen, thank you for your patience. Go ahead, please.
Look, this is not the first time this phenomena is unleashing itself. It has unleashed itself over the centuries. Go back 100, 150 years back, and the areas which were then in India, now in Pakistan and Afghanistan, witnessed a lot of upsurge, including areas in the Hindi heartland, the Gangetic Plain. The British took cognizance of it, and they cracked down and they wiped it out. And you have to understand one thing, this is most dumbing down of terrorism is done when you bring in this leftist socialist ideology and try and apply it to terrorism and say that, poverty or lack of education. And you will see people, including in this government, say that if we give them computers, things will improve. No, it will not. It's good to educate people of your country, citizens of your country, but you have to be very clear that at the end of the day, terrorism is not about poverty, it's not about lack of education, it's about an ideology, it's about a political ideology. For want of a better word, I'll call it Islamism. And very clearly, this is what you have to combat. Now, please tell me, Anand, you have been watching this entire thing for at least more than a decade that I have known you. I've been watching it for almost 3 decades. Please tell me, since the early 90s when this thing erupts in India, and now we are talking about 35 years, please tell me, how much have we combated it at the psychological level, at the ideological level, and at the political level, in the sense that political level, what I mean is that, we've seen some of the statements coming out from people of Samajwadi Party today, including people of the Congress Party. I can understand opposition politicians targeting the government and questioning how come this cell was operating, why wasn't it busted earlier? Again, that criticism is disingenuous, because had you busted it earlier, you would have then attached some political motive to it. But I can still understand that kind of criticism. What I can't understand is the kind of statements we've heard from some former MPs of Samajwadi Party and others. And what this does is that it actually gives covering fire to terrorism. It makes it sound kosher. And it gives an impression that, look, if you've done something and even if you get caught, maybe tomorrow the government will change and you'll get off, which we have seen. Cases being withdrawn, dreaded terrorists being given Ayurvedic massages in Kerala, all kinds of things we have seen in this country. So you haven't fought it at the political level. You haven't said that this is a red line no political party will cross, no matter what the vote bank politics is.
Right.
Second, please tell me, have you combated it at the ideological level? Do you even know what you're talking about? Do you even know how to do it? And I don't agree with Ambassador Vora out here. His broad, I can understand his anger, but I don't agree with him. In so far as how to combat it. That is not the ideological way of combating it. That's a knee-jerk reaction which comes out, which is very normal. But at an ideological level, you need to combat it. You need to have a strategy to be able to do it. Then, of course, is the operational level at which you need to start combating it. So I think when you look at something and then for somebody to express surprise that how come people from who are professionals are getting into this. Look, yaar, the poor guy on the street is too poor to get into all this nonsense, right? He has to eke out an existence for himself. Maybe at best he'll become a foot soldier. Maybe he'll become some kind of cannon fodder. But he is not the kind of a guy who will do this kind of planning. And there are enough studies to tell you that it is maybe it's the lower middle class, and the higher class guys who get involved in it. Any number of cases I'll give you. People from LSE have been involved in it. People from American universities. People from top Indian universities. Engineers. People who have been working in MNCs have been involved in this. Doctors. This is not the first set of doctors that have been caught doing this kind of stuff. Maybe this network is primarily centered around doctors and doctors spread across the country. But this is not the first time doctors have been found involved in this kind of activity. So I think there is a certain amount of clarity we need when we are talking about terrorism. Unfortunately, I haven't seen enough of that insofar as the government is concerned. Please tell me, Anand, one last point. Please tell me how many people in this country today, we claim that our interaction with Islam is over a millennia, right? How many people in this country, and I'm not talking about the WhatsApp university, right, who have actually understand where this thing comes from within Islam, how this has to be combated. How many people are doing this? How many people understand it?
Right. You raise a fair question, and we'll take that forward. I just want to bring in another dynamic, because you said this is an ideological mindset. This is a mindset and this is a push. There is a thrust. Ambassador Deepak Vora outlined 3 core aspects. There is also this whole thing called Ghazwa-e-Hind. Now, this entire Ghazwa-e-Hind is more than 1,000-year-old phenomenon of political Islam, and the fact that this is the land that remains to be conquered, and they have to, and it is mandated that this has to be conquered for the supremacy of a particular religion and the supremacy of a particular political ideology or thought process. Now, there is a reason why I'm bringing this, because there is a Turkey and a Dhaka connection also now that is very fast emerging, and that should concern us immensely. The ongoing probe has uncovered the chilling picture of a radicalized network that expands beyond Bharat. Intelligence agencies have confirmed that 2 accused, Adil and Muzammil, travelled to Turkey earlier this year, where they allegedly met their handler. The handler arranged their stay, indicating a structured international network. Digital forensic analysis has yielded over 400 encrypted chats between the 2 women doctors, including Dr. Shaheen Shahid, discussing funding, logistics and safe houses. Now, one of them received foreign remittances from Istanbul and also Doha through digital wallets between 2023 and 2024. Both women graduated from Dhaka Medical College and met Maulvi Irfan during their internship in Srinagar at the Government Medical College, when Irfan at that time was not a Maulvi but a paramedic. Now, this phase investigations also now call the turning point in their radicalization. So it's all happened under Irfan, and they've all studied at that GMC Srinagar, and this is that group which continued to stay in touch, and Irfan continued to radicalize them and engage with them and groom them. Now, sources say the network was digitally skilled, financially backed from abroad, and aimed to establish a pan-Bharat sleeper cell structure. And that's where all the other doctors come into the picture. Intel sources also say that logistical, diplomatic and financial support is also coming to terror groups from Turkey. Sources say Turkey's National Intelligence Organization and state-backed NGOs are systematically supporting radical groups like the Jamaat-e-Islami, Hizbul Mujahideen and also the Popular Front of India, which now stands banned. So, students, minds, youth, youngsters from Kashmir and also from Kerala are being groomed systematically. Moreover, intelligence agencies are concerned about radicalization spillover from Bharat into Bangladesh. Around 8,500 Bharatiya medical students, largely from Jammu and Kashmir, are studying in Bangladesh. And post the 2024 crisis, groups concentrated across Dhaka, Sylhet, Rajshahi, and Chittagong medical colleges. Sources say they have become a target for ideological grooming under the JMB and also the student wings of the terror entities that have entered these campuses. Also, we are saying that the ISI has officially opened a branch there in Dhaka, and they will also look to engage and groom some of these minds, some of these vulnerable students there. Now, what are we doing about this? Kulveer Krishanji stays on with us. Ambassador Deepak Vora is with us. Sushant Sareen stays on, and General Harimon Nair also stays on. Now, Ambassador Deepak Vora, this is a bigger challenge. Those who are ideologically inclined and motivated are busy weaponizing minds. What are we doing, sir? How are we going to protect ourselves from what's happening around the neighborhood?
So why do you refer to it as an ideology? What is their ideology? I'm sorry, I don't understand. Their ideology is Sharia. Their ideology is governments don't matter, borders don't matter.
Yeah.
It's Allah who matters. And what he said so many hundreds of years ago, the glory of Islam. How many countries have they converted to Islam after the Prophet transitioned? One was created, that fool. It's run by some mad mullah called, I think Munni Bhai or something is the fellow's name, calls himself a fool marshal. I mean, how many countries have been converted to Islam, sir? I would like to know. What ideology? Who adheres to that ideology other than the Islamic country, 57, and amongst them also not many do. Turkey used to be totally secular till this buffoon came along. So my question here is, when you say, how do we deal with it? How do you purify the mind? How do you remove the ricin from the mind? And you remove it by banning the madrasas. You remove it by making sure that these kids there get a proper education. You make sure that they are hit, that they are hurt very badly. They are eliminated, sir. Use their own tactics on them. I don't see any other way. We've tried soft peddling, we've tried mollycoddling these guys. What has happened, sir? What the doctors did? I don't know, sir. I don't know. To my mind, the only good terrorist is a dead terrorist, sir. That's the solution that we should follow, sir.
Saddam Hussain is also with us. Saddam Hussain, these details coming through that the Chhatra Shibir, etc., they are radicalizing and entering into and engaging with students to try and weaponize them against Bharat. You see that trend there in Bangladesh?
Thank you for having me. It's true, because you know that the running government is the illegal government chief, Professor Yunus. He is the puppet of the radical Islam, actually. And they are nursing the anti-India hat factory. And they are using every fundamental organizations, whether it is political, cultural, or other organizations to breeding the fundamental groups, to organize them. And one of their core political agenda is, establishing or promoting hatred against India. This is one of their political cards. This is one of their political tools. They use this to cover up their domestic failures. They use this to appeasing the fundamental groups. Just have stronghold their continued unconstitutional power. And they are using educational institutions also. Islamic Chhatra Shibir, students organization of Jamaat Islam. They are highly affiliated with the Jamaat Islam of Pakistan. They are previous linkage with ISI, and they have huge network with other international terrorist organizations. There are huge examples of their members actively engaging in terrorist activities. So they are now freely campaigning, organizing in the educational institutions, in the universities, and the state machinery is also supporting them by giving training programs, by giving other priorities to this sort of organizational members. So these are happening randomly. And also, that the involvement with Pakistan as a state and other, that private organizations, terrorist organizations, radical Islamist organizations, they are freely moving around Bangladesh. They are doing that thing, those things. and ISI officers are randomly visiting Bangladesh. So this is a threat for Bangladesh also. This is actually a humiliation for our the independence war legacy, and it also it is also make the people Bangladesh more unsafe. I think it become a ground for a playground for the international terrorist network actually.
Right. Kulbir Krishnji, what do we do?
See, Bangladesh is clearly in the hands of fundamentalist Islamic forces. And Yunus has been playing along. In fact, he denies that there are any atrocities on Hindus or Christians or other minorities. And the way the Jamaat-e-Islami and its cohorts are ruling the roost, it's very clear that till he is there, we are going to have a very tough time. But we have so many levers, and I do not understand why we do not use them to bring him to heel. You know, just like he says that India's northeast is landlocked by Bangladesh. Well, Bangladesh itself is landlocked by India. They have only a small border with Myanmar, you know, and their rice comes from us, their beef comes from us, their oil comes from us, you know. They'll starve to death if we stop all these things. And that's all. These non-kinetic measures have to be taken to bring, you know, if their inflation goes to 100%, what will happen to Yunus? Secondly, as far as Turkey is concerned, it's a much more serious problem. And we have been, you know, playing up Greece and Armenia, you know, and building up relations with them and providing them arms, etc. But Turkey also, I feel that the Riot Act has to be read out to them. And what Ambassador Vora was saying is 100% correct. Most of you may not be aware, during the time of partition, there was a Muslim League slogan which said, "Haste haste liya hai Pakistan, ladke lenge Hindustan." This ideology is there in Field Marshal Munir. And, you know, although Operation Sindoor should have knocked some sense into him, it has only inflated his ego. So we are in a very tough position, but we have to safeguard ourselves. We have to fight on all fronts. You know?
Right. Sometimes it is good to be bad, sir, and good people. That doesn't take you away from being a good person. But nice people finish last. You can't afford to be nice. Fact, there's a difference between being good and nice. I have limited time, so we'll take this forward because there is also the election season, viewers. So just dedicating some attention there. Even as today's Chanakya gives the NDA 160 seats in its projections, the larger question is the MY factor now changing? It's no longer Muslim Yadav but Mahila Yuva. Yashwant Deshmukh joins us. We're counting down to the results of Bihar, and the 14th of November will be Result Day Bihar. But what's happened in the run-up is also historic. For the first time, Bihar has seen elections in two phases. For the first time, perhaps in 20 years, that there has been a systematic, intensive review of the entire voter rolls, and there has been a huge pruning that's happened. But despite all of that, amidst all allegations of vote chori, it's been an unprecedented voter turnout. The overall base of voters itself have turned out to vote has gone up, with Mahila, Yuva coming out in huge numbers. What does this mean? And especially around when there are a lot of projections which say that the incumbent may just come back stronger just because of the kind of people and the way people have come out and voted in Bihar. Let's just go across and understand the mind of the voter in Bihar and what these trends actually can be and how they can be inferred with someone who's a seasoned cephalogist who's put out numbers in the past, but he's analyzing the polls this time around and also the developments in Bihar. Yashwant Deshmukh is with us. Yashwantji, namaste.
Namaste. Namaste, how are you doing?
Very good. Aap kaise? Now tell me, sir, usually there are outliers and there are people who will have different projections, but if you just go by the pure election data, Election Commission data, are you impressed with the voter turnout in Bihar?
Absolutely. This is unprecedented in every possible way. And please do not get confused with the lower denominator and what was the 5 years back and the purging of SIR and the percentage is not the new story. this is all, kind of whataboutery. I think what females of Bihar have achieved this time is unprecedented in every possible way. Forget the percentage and everything. The sheer fact that 4 lakh more women have voted than males. That itself has turned the equation upside down. No matter who wins, I'm not going into that. That kind of prediction thing is something which, but the Bihar election has reset the tone, and I'm saying this with all seriousness, that the MY factor that defined the Bihar elections for long in terms of Muslim and Yadav, that has gone for a toss. The new MY is Mahila and Yuva. That's what it is all about. And if Tejasvi Yadav manages to win this election, there are only 3 outcomes, right? Number 1, Tejasvi Yadav wins. That will put the entire issue of unemployment in the center stage. And it's critical because all our trackers all year along, the mood of the nation, even the Bihar trackers, have been saying that, the unemployment issue is the issue right now in front of everyone. So the new voter, the Yuva voter, and the issue of unemployment will come center stage. Now, that's something which will be unprecedented because every politician worth the salt in this country will have to then think about that issue on how to go about in future elections. The problem with Tejasvi Yadav's thing is that only problem is that the solution that he has suggested of Sarkari Naukri, everybody knows it's unsustainable, and that will, kind of, if politicians across the country feel like that, okay, if you promise Sarkari Naukri, this is how you are going to win the election, and that is going to take a different way, the way India is governed in the next 20 years, 10 years, and what kind of fiscal implication that would carry. I mean, that's a different debate altogether. But if Tejasvi Yadav wins, then the debate of unemployment will come into the center stage. Second option, the new entrant, the X Factor, Prashant Kishore becomes a king or kingmaker, whichever way you look at it. If that happens, then the issue of the migration and issue of the policies on the basic structure of the development of Bihar will come in the center stage. People will talk about the fundamentals of development and how you are going about it. And that might make a difference for the young politicians who are upcoming and say that, okay, this is the guy who has not worked on any caste-driven baseline.
Yeah.
He has no legacy. Neither something like Anna Andolan to prop up Aam Aadmi Party, nor all the cine stars, newcomers right from the NT Rama Rao to all the new stars. So no political legacy, no cinema legacy, yet purely on the merit of being on the ground, he has kind of gained the traction and substantial traction. So if that happens, that will affect the way the politics is governed. Done in this country in the long run. But a big but, if Nitish Kumar manages to win again, and that would be purely on the shoulder of the female voters, and that I genuinely believe will bring the largest vote bank of this country, which is almost 50% in the center stage, which would be caste agnostic, religion agnostic, and divisive agenda agnostic, which would be purely on the agenda of the generational policies, because I don't consider Nitish Kumar giving 10,000, the 10,000 as everybody is calling it, as a one-time freebie like Eknath Shinde, or for that matter in Jharkhand Hemant Soren, or for that matter even in Madhya Pradesh Shivraj Singh Chauhan. Because these people did not have that kind of emotional connect with the female voters of that state. It was more of a transactional scheme. But Nitish Kumar's connect with the females is altogether different, because he started 20-25 years back giving the bicycles, giving the poshak, giving the scholarship, then of course giving money to the girl child's parent when they graduated, and now the 10,000. So the girl, imagine the school-going girl which received a bicycle 20 years back, is a mother now, is a housemaker, is an aspiring entrepreneur. That emotional connect of Nitish Kumar, looking at Nitish Kumar as a father figure, is very different from any politician whomsoever in this country at this point of time. So be very careful. There is one Yuva vote. If that turnout is of Yuva and change maker, then you are looking at a different story. Issue on unemployment getting into center stage. Who deals with unemployment in which way? That's another story. Sustainable, unsustainable, we do not know. But if Nitish Kumar wins, then you are likely to see a big chunk of futuristic politicians who would like to invest in generational policies and reap the benefits over next 15, 20 years to come.
Correct. But in this case, you're confident that within the NDA, the JDU will do much better than 2020. And if that happens, automatically the JDU and the NDA strike rate should improve. The other aspect is how important is the social sentiment on ground. The fact that women can work late hours, people can go out, law and order largely is far more improved in terms of Sushasana compared to the Lalu Raj or the Jungle Raj. But interestingly, to counter that or counterbalance that, more than 45% of this current voter base has not seen Jungle Raj or anything beyond Nitish Raj. It's either always been Nitish who's been the thing. So if the pollsters also, you were to look at the projections of various pollsters, Yashwantji, most of them have given a clean, comfortable win to the NDA. Nobody is given, there's no outlier who's saying the MGB will clear the halfway mark. Nobody is saying that. Nor is anybody saying that Jansuraj will have enough numbers to play kingmaker in a particular scenario. That means this seems to be the incumbent coming back perhaps a little more stronger than 2020.
Nitish Kumar's equation, yes. I mean, what I'm not very sure, because I have generally seen only the seat share projections, which mean nothing actually, unless they are giving actually vote share projection. And I would love to see what vote projections, the male-female projections are there for the voting intent, and also among the age groups, if the 18 to 30 years of age is having a different kind of thing, and within that age group also, if there is any gender variation. What I feel for sure is that throughout our trackers and everything before this election, and as we are doing the post poll, which we'll be releasing on 14 once the election is out, because that's an academic thing to explain the mandate. That's what we are going to do.
Right.
But two things which are very clear, that this election is about breaking the stereotypes of Bihar. You know, we have statistical example of upper caste youth saying that they will vote for Tejasvi or Prashant Kishore on the issue of migration and the unemployment. You know, and as you just said that the big chunk of the youth who was not even born when Jungle Raj memory was there. So obviously that is an important aspect. So that stereotype is going to be broken. A lot of caste agnostic youth are going to vote on the issue of migration and issue of unemployment. That is going to be broken. Second thing, similarly, on the other side, females even from the conservative backdrop of Yadav and Muslim families, not 100% are going to vote for them. There is going to be a chunk, there is going to be breakaway faction, and definitely all across the Bihar, there would be female voters who will be voting absolutely unlike their male counterparts or their family, purely on the issue of what they are getting from Nitish Kumar. So that goodwill is for Nitish Kumar, no doubt about that. So these two vote banks are going to break the stereotype, break the equations, and it is not going to be the same again. Anybody who tries to overanalyze now Bihar purely from the caste and religious arithmetic, I think they need to take a break. They need to look into these new equations which are emerging, which are bound to be replicated by the other states, by the way. Bound to be replicated. And if they do not get ready for that kind of futuristic analysis, what is coming, I think they will be reading the entire mandate completely wrong, this way or that way.
True. Fair point that you make, and come result day, we look forward to you joining us live to then also then further analyze the numbers as they settle in, and we know who the eventual winner is and by what margin. By what margin? That's going to be critical. Even the vote share will come into play, and who voted for whom, we'll also get those that information. Whether or not Bihar breaks stereotypes, sets new paradigms for election, psephologists, and also for election planning and election strategy going forward. for other state elections, that perhaps would also become very, very clear. Yashwant Deshmukh ji, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for your time. And on that note, we're going to call it a wrap on this edition of The Right Stand. Namaste. Thank you for watching.
Co-presented. This is News18 Network. India's largest news network.
And in yet another exclusive, News18 has also spoken to a Masjid Committee Chairman Farooq Ahmed on the link with the Maulvi Irfan. He has said that 3 posters of Jaish Mohammed were recovered from the room of this Maulvi by the police after they opened the lock of the room in front of the magistrate.
पुलिस ने फोन के पता नहीं किस हमसाय ने मेरा फोन नंबर दिया, वरना मुझे उनको नावगाम के साथ वास्ता नहीं है, मुझे छानपोरा के साथ, अबे छानपोरा थाना आता है। फिर मैं इधर एक और आदमी में डर गया, पुलिस क्यों ढूंढता मुझे 10:15 बजे। मैंने हमसाय को फोन मेरे साथ था, वो आया इधर, यहाँ बोला उसने फारूक साहब कौन, मैं हूँ। इमाम साहब का इमाम साहब के पता नहीं क्या शाहमत है, इमाम साहब को ढूंढता है, ये घर गया आज। मैंने बोला इमाम साहब यहाँ रहते हैं इधर, हाँ दे दो चाबी। मैं चाबी हमारे पास नहीं है, चाबी उसी के पास है। फिर वो सब इंस्पेक्टर ने फोन किया थाने पर या किसको किया, फिर वो गया, इस चैनल पर हाथ लगाया, इस चैनल पर हाथ लगाया, वहाँ से निकल गई इस गेट की चाबी।
हाँ, उसके बाद
इस चाबी निकली, फिर उन्होंने एक चाबी दरवाजा खोला, फिर गया अंदर कमरे के साथ। मैंने बोला ये चाबी भी उसी के पास है। उन्होंने मैसेज दिया उनको कि ये चाबी भी मौलवी साहब के पास है। फिर उन्होंने बोला रखो, जब जरूरत पड़ेगी फिर हम आएंगे। वो 18 दिन आया नहीं है। 18 दिन के बाद पुलिस आए दिन को 4 बजे आया। वो मजिस्ट्रेट साथ था, वो सरदार है सब इंस्पेक्टर। उसने बोला फारूक साहब चाबी ले जाओ, तो चलो खोलो दरवाज़ा। हमने दरवाज़ा खोला, ये भी और वो भी। वहाँ से तलाशी की, ठीक ठाक से बजट के, तो वहाँ से निकला जैश मोहम्मद के 3 पोस्टर है। हमें नहीं पता, सरदार ने बोला यही वो पोस्टर है जो नावगामा में चस्पान हुआ। उन्हें बस वही तीर पर लिखा है, उस पर ये महल वालों की धमकी है, अब सुधर जाओ, गलत काम करते हैं। और
तो उससे पहले किसी ने ताला खोला था कमरे का?
नहीं, 18 दिन उन्हीं के पास है। हम अंदर गए, क्या करना अंदर?
नहीं, उससे पहले पुलिस ने तो नहीं खोला था?
नहीं, जिस दिन पहले गिरफ्तार उस दिन भी नहीं खोला, क्योंकि चाबियां हमारे पास नहीं है, चाबियां उसी के पास है।
This is News18 Network. India's largest news network.
And in yet another exclusive, News18 has also spoken to a Masjid Committee Chairman Farooq Ahmed on the link with the Maulvi Irfan. He has said that 3 posters of Jaish Mohammed were recovered from the room of this Maulvi by the police after they opened the lock of the room in front of the magistrate.
पुलिस ने फोन के पता नहीं किस हमसाय ने मेरा फोन नंबर दिया, वरना मुझे उनको नावगाम के साथ वास्ता नहीं है, मुझे छानपोरा के साथ, अबे छानपोरा थाना आता है। फिर मैं इधर एक और आदमी में डर गया, पुलिस क्यों ढूंढता मुझे 10:15 बजे। मैंने हमसाय को फोन मेरे साथ था, वो आया इधर, यहाँ बोला उसने फारूक साहब कौन, मैं हूँ। इमाम साहब का इमाम साहब के पता नहीं क्या शाहमत है, इमाम साहब को ढूंढता है, ये घर गया आज। मैंने बोला इमाम साहब यहाँ रहते हैं इधर, हाँ दे दो चाबी। मैं चाबी हमारे पास नहीं है, चाबी उसी के पास है। फिर वो सब इंस्पेक्टर ने फोन किया थाने पर या किसको किया, फिर वो गया, इस चैनल पर हाथ लगाया, इस चैनल पर हाथ लगाया, वहाँ से निकल गई इस गेट की चाबी।
हाँ, उसके बाद
इस चाबी निकली, फिर उन्होंने एक चाबी दरवाजा खोला, फिर गया अंदर कमरे के साथ। मैंने बोला ये चाबी भी उसी के पास है। उन्होंने मैसेज दिया उनको कि ये चाबी भी मौलवी साहब के पास है। फिर उन्होंने बोला रखो, जब जरूरत पड़ेगी फिर हम आएंगे। वो 18 दिन आया नहीं है। 18 दिन के बाद पुलिस आए दिन को 4 बजे आया। वो मजिस्ट्रेट साथ था, वो सरदार है सब इंस्पेक्टर। उसने बोला फारूक साहब चाबी ले जाओ, तो चलो खोलो दरवाज़ा। हमने दरवाज़ा खोला, ये भी और वो भी। वहाँ से तलाशी की, ठीक ठाक से बजट के, तो वहाँ से निकला जैश मोहम्मद के 3 पोस्टर है। हमें नहीं पता, सरदार ने बोला यही वो पोस्टर है जो नौगामा में चस्पान हुआ। उन्हें बस वही तीर पर लिखा है, उस पर ये मालूम वालों की धमकी है, अब सुधर जाओ, गलत काम करते हैं। और
तो उससे पहले किसी ने ताला खोला था कमरे का?
नहीं, 18 दिन उन्हीं के पास है। हम अंदर गए, क्या करना अंदर?
नहीं, उससे पहले पुलिस ने तो नहीं खोला था?
नहीं, जिस दिन पहले गिरफ्तार उस दिन भी नहीं खोला, क्योंकि चाबियां हमारे पास नहीं है, चाबियां उसी के पास है।
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
And in yet another exclusive, News 18 has also spoken to a Masjid Committee Chairman Farooq Ahmed on the link with the Maulvi Irfan. He has said that 3 posters of Jaish Mohammed were recovered from the room of this Maulvi by the police after they opened the lock of the room in front of the magistrate.
पुलिस ने फोन किया, पता नहीं किस हमसाय ने मेरा फोन नंबर दिया, वरना मुझे उनके नावगाम के साथ वास्ता नहीं है, मुझे छानपोरा के साथ, अबे छानपोरा थाना आता है। फिर मैं इधर एक और आदमी, मैं डर गया, पुलिस क्यों ढूंढता मुझे 10:15 बजे। मैंने हमसाय को फोन, मेरे साथ आओ, वो आया इधर, यहाँ बोला उसने फारूक साहब कौन? मैं हूँ। इमाम साहब का, इमाम साहब के पता नहीं क्या शाहमत है, इमाम साहब को ढूंढता है, ये घर गया आज। मैंने बोला इमाम साहब यहाँ रहते हैं इधर, हाँ दे दो चाबी। मैं चाबी हमारे पास नहीं है, चाबी उसी के पास है। फिर वो सब इंस्पेक्टर ने फोन किया थाने पर या किसको किया, फिर वो गया, इस चैनल पर हाथ लगाया, इस चैनल पर हाथ लगाया, वहां से निकल गई इस गेट की चाबी।
उसके बाद
इस चाबी निकली, फिर उन्होंने एक चाबी दरवाजा खोला, फिर गया अंदर कमरे के साथ। मैंने बोला ये चाबी भी उसी के पास है। उन्होंने मैसेज दिया उनको कि ये चाबी भी मौलवी साहब के पास है। फिर उन्होंने बोला रखो, जब जरूरत पड़ेगी फिर हम आएंगे। वो 18 दिन आया नहीं है। 18 दिन के बाद पुलिस आए, दिन को 4 बजे आया। वो मजिस्ट्रेट साथ था, वो सरदार है सब इंस्पेक्टर। उसने बोला फारूक साहब चाबी ले जाओ, तो चलो खोलो दरवाज़ा। हमने दरवाज़ा खोला, ये भी और वो भी। वहाँ से तलाशी की, ठीक ठाक से बजट के, तो वहाँ से निकला जैश मोहम्मद के 3 पोस्टर है। हमें नहीं पता, सरदार ने बोला यही वो पोस्टर है जो नौगामा में चस्पान हुआ। उन्हें बस वही तीर पर लिखा है, उस पर ये मालूम वालों की धमकी है, अब सुधर जाओ, गलत काम करते हैं। और
तो उससे पहले किसी ने ताला खोला था कमरे का?
नहीं, 18 दिन उन्हीं के पास है। हम अंदर गए, क्या करना अंदर?
नहीं, उससे पहले पुलिस ने तो नहीं खोला था?
नहीं, जिस दिन पहले गिरफ्तार उस दिन भी नहीं खोला, क्योंकि चाबियां हमारे पास नहीं है, चाबियां उसी के पास है।
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
And in yet another exclusive, News 18 has also spoken to a Masjid Committee Chairman Farooq Ahmed on the link with the Maulvi Irfan. He has said that 3 posters of Jaish Mohammed were recovered from the room of this Maulvi by the police after they opened the lock of the room in front of the magistrate.
पुलिस ने फोन किया, पता नहीं किस हमसाय ने मेरा फोन नंबर दिया, वरना मुझे उनके नावगाम के साथ वास्ता नहीं है, मुझे छानपोरा के साथ, अबे छानपोरा थाना आता है। फिर मैं इधर एक और आदमी, मैं डर गया, पुलिस क्यों ढूंढता मुझे 10:15 बजे। मैंने हमसे को फोन, मेरे साथ आओ, वो आया इधर, यहाँ बोला उसने फारूक साहब कौन? मैं हूँ। इमाम साहब का, इमाम साहब के पता नहीं क्या शाहमत है, इमाम साहब को ढूंढता है, ये घर गया आज। मैंने बोला इमाम साहब यहाँ रहते हैं इधर, हाँ दे दो चाबी। मैं चाबी हमारे पास नहीं है, चाबी उसी के पास है। फिर वो सब इंस्पेक्टर ने फोन किया थाने पर या किसको किया, फिर वो गया, इस चैनल पर हाथ लगाया, इस चैनल पर हाथ लगाया, वहाँ से निकल गई इस गेट की चाबी।
उसके बाद
इस चाबी निकली, फिर उन्होंने एक चाबी दरवाज़ा खोला, फिर गया अंदर कमरे के साथ। मैंने बोला ये चाबी भी उसी के पास है। उन्होंने मैसेज दिया उनको कि ये चाबी भी मौलवी साहब के पास है। फिर उन्होंने बोला रखो, जब जरूरत पड़ेगी फिर हम आएंगे। वो 18 दिन आया नहीं है। 18 दिन के बाद पुलिस आए दिन को 4 बजे, दिन को 4 बजे आया वो। मजिस्ट्रेट साथ है, वो सरदार है, सब इंस्पेक्टर। उसने बोला फारूक साहब चाबी ले जाओ, तो चलो खोलो दरवाज़ा। हमने दरवाज़ा खोला, ये भी और वो भी। वहाँ से तलाशी की ठीक ठाक से बजट के, तो वहाँ से निकला जैश मोहम्मद के 3 पोस्टर है। हमें नहीं पता, सरदार ने बोला यही वो पोस्टर है जो नागामा में चस्पान हुआ। उन्हें बस वही तीर पर लिखा है, उस पर ये महल वालों की धमकी है, अब सुधर जाओ, गलत काम करते हैं। और
तो उससे पहले किसी ने ताला खोला था कमरे का?
नहीं, 18 दिन उन्हीं के पास है। हम अंदर गए, क्या करना अंदर?
नहीं, उससे पहले पुलिस ने तो नहीं खोला था?
नहीं, जिस दिन पहले गिरफ्तार उस दिन भी नहीं खोला, क्योंकि चाबियां हमारे पास नहीं है, चाबियां उसी के पास है।
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
And in yet another exclusive, News 18 has also spoken to a Masjid Committee Chairman Farooq Ahmed on the link with the Maulvi Irfan. He has said that 3 posters of Jaish Mohammed were
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. A white-collar network, a module of educated professionals and doctors at that, nothing less than that. They were at the heart and center of a terror module that was busted in the national capital, but unfortunately, one of those members went on to create a blast, which is one of the worst terror attacks that Delhi has seen in over a decade. This happened on Monday evening. Over 10 people have died. And it could have been far worse given the actual amount of explosives that were recovered in Faridabad, close to 3,000 kilos of ammonium nitrate. But these individuals, and what is stark and different and quite sinister about these individuals, is that a large number of them happen to be doctors. At least 5 of them happen to be doctors, including the person who was the suspected suicide bomber, Dr. Umar Nabi, who blew himself up just outside the Red Fort, right in the heart of the national capital. Now these highly educated, well-to-do, affluent doctors, who by the way have been sworn by the Hippocrates oath to be the saviors of life and not the destroyers of life, they are the ones who are becoming the agents of death, the doctors of death. And the Delhi blast is not an isolated act. It's proof that this is about ideology. This is not about incomes. This is not about whether you're poor or rich or middle class. This is about a brainwashed ideology for which some people are willing to go to the lengths of killing other fellow citizens in the name of this twisted, brainwashed ideology. How long can we continue to afford to downplay this and rationalize this? This